Hello, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be doing some Kindle Unlimited book recommendations. I have had Kindle Unlimited twice now. I had it back in January and I just got it again this past month. So I've compiled a list of recommendations going from really popular recommendations and books that are on Kindle Unlimited to some books that I have found that I have not seen anyone talk about. I am going to split this video up into genres. So if there's a specific genre that you just really like reading and you hate all the others, feel free to skip to those recommendations. I'll have the timestamps on the screen. So I have all of them on my notes app. So I'm going to start with mystery and thriller recommendations. I feel like these are probably the easiest books to find on Kindle Unlimited. Also, if you don't know what Kindle Unlimited is, sorry I keep playing with my bangs. They're a little bit too long and I can't find my bang cutting scissors. Obviously, this is not a sponsored video. Kindle Unlimited is a monthly subscription where you get a ton of free ebooks to rent. Obviously, it is not free because you're paying for the subscription. If you want a free way to read ebooks, which I feel like no one on BookTube ever talks about this, they only ever talk about Kindle Unlimited, get a local library card and get Libby. That is what I did at first when I had my Kindle. I would still do it if I had a library card. I've just been very lazy to get my library card renewed. But yeah, Kindle Unlimited is just a free rental of ebooks. Honestly, it's just a way for readers who are super fast at reading to kind of save money on books. And also, if you like reading but you do not like having the clutter of a ton of physical books in your house, this is a great way to do that. You also do not need a Kindle to read Kindle Unlimited. A lot of people, I feel like, have this misconception that you need to have a Kindle Paperwhite to use Kindle Unlimited, whatever. You literally just need a device. You can read Kindle Unlimited through a Kindle app on your iPad, on your fucking phone, or you can obviously do it on your Kindle device itself. Yeah, that's the gist of what Kindles are. Let's get into mystery and thrillers. So I did try to do a good mix of books that are really popular and books that aren't so popular. This first book I read back in January and it's called The Quarry Girls by Jess Laurie, I believe. I don't know if I'm saying her name right. I'm apologizing right now if I am saying your name wrong or any of these authors' names wrong in this video. I gave this book a 5 stars. It takes place in Minnesota and it also takes place in the 70s. I really liked reading this book because it took place in Minnesota. I knew where all of the locations that they were writing about, and if I didn't, I knew what the area was like, so I just had a better time imagining it in my head, I guess. The actual book synopsis is Minnesota 1977. For the teens of a one close-knit community, summer means late night swimming parties at the quarry, the county fair, and venturing into the tunnels beneath the city. But for two best friends, it's not all fun and games. Heather and Brenda have a secret, something they saw in the dark, something they can't forget. They've decided never to tell a soul, but their vow is tested when their friend disappears, the second girl to vanish in a week. And yet the authorities are reluctant to investigate. Heather is terrified that the missing girls are connected to what she and Brenda stumbled upon that night. Desperately searching for answers on her own, she learns that no one in her community is who they seem, not the police, not the boys she met at the quarry, not even her parents. But she can't stop digging because she knows those girls are in danger. She also knows she's next. I loved this. Again, like I said, I knew the locations. Also, the quarry in St. Cloud, Minnesota is kind of where parts of this book take place. A place that every teenager in Minnesota goes to. So I just thought it was so cool reading a book about a place that I've been to and a place that I know. I feel like I've not read a lot of books that take place in Minnesota. I would 100%, if you're gonna read one mystery and thriller out of all of my list, please read this book, especially because it's summertime right now. I read it in January. I probably would have had a better time reading it in summer, and I literally gave it a 5 star. Please read that book. It is so good. The next recommendation that I have is not necessarily a specific book, but it's an author. Frida McFadden is a very popular book talk and booktube author. You probably recognize them from, I don't know if it's The Housemaid or The Maid, the one cover where the person's looking through the keyhole. They wrote that book. And the thing is that I like about them, they have kept that book on Kindle Unlimited. I feel like a lot of authors, when they either get really popular or obviously when they get picked up by a really big publishing house, they take their books off of Kindle Unlimited. Frida McFadden has not taken their books off of Kindle Unlimited, and I love them for that. I have just a few books on the screen that I would recommend. I've read a few of them. I'm not going to talk about that. You'll have to wait until my reading wrap up to know which book that I've read. I really like their writing and I really would recommend it. it because something about Kindle Unlimited is like, obviously there are thousands of books to choose from and some of them are really good, some of them are really bad. The next book that I'm recommending is a book I just recently read. It is called A Flicker in the Dark. I feel like this book is now going viral / getting really popular. It is by Stacey Willingham and it's the daughter of a serial killer notices that murders are happening again in the same like way of how her father murdered or confessed to these murders that happened way back in the day. Follow her journey of kind of figuring out what's going on. The next book is a book from a really popular author. However, I've not had the best luck with their books personally. I don't know if I just don't like their writing style or if I don't like the books themselves, but it's Alice Feeney. I read Rock, Paper, Scissors on Kindle Unlimited and it's probably the most popular Alice Feeney book that I know of. All I remember about the book is that these two people, they're married, they get a free vacation that they won out of like a contest randomly. I believe it's like a cabin that's secluded and they get stuck there. Their marriage is falling apart and that's why they go on the vacation. Didn't hate the book. I didn't love the book. It's not my favorite thriller, but it is a very popular one that other people have loved, so I'm sure if you read it, you will probably also love it. Next, I'm going to talk about fantasy just for a little bit. I don't have a lot of fantasy recommendations because honestly, I feel like Kindle Unlimited doesn't have the best fantasy books. However, I have found my like latest favorite author through Kindle Unlimited. So I'm sure you've heard of this author's name, Carissa Broadbent. She is the person who wrote the Crowns of Nyxia series, which is The Serpent and the Wings of Night and The Ashes and the Star-Cursed King. I read those books. I bought them physically because I didn't have Kindle Unlimited when I read those books. I loved the writing. That series is kind of like a fantasy version of the Hunger Games. Really recommend it. 5-star series for me. And I just recently started reading her other series that's on Kindle Unlimited, Daughter of No Worlds, War of Lost Hearts series. Carissa Broadbent just has really good writing. I feel like Kindle Unlimited has a lot of fantasies that you can get. However, I don't think a lot of them are written great. I also feel like I just don't read a lot of fantasy when I'm on Kindle Unlimited. Usually I'm reading thrillers or romances on Kindle Unlimited. I would recommend Carissa Broadbent. Their writing is great. They are going to be like my auto-buy author. I love them so much. Please check out their books. The next genre we are going to talk about is romance, which is probably the most popular genre within Kindle Unlimited, within the Book Talk and BookTube community. I'm going to start it off with a very popular book series right now, which is the Chestnut Spring series by Elsie Silver. It is heartless, flawless, powerless, and reckless. It's all interconnected. It's a cowboy romance, small town romance series. First one is Rhett. He's a professional bull rider and you follow him and a PR or like his manager because he gets in trouble. He has to be babysat and you follow them falling in love. I loved that book. And then I also have read the second book. That one is his brother Cade and he is a single dad. It follows him and the nanny. It's so good. Elsie Silver is a great author. Their writing is amazing. I definitely would recommend checking out these books. Honestly, the only reason I haven't read the last two is because I really want to buy the physical copies of them. So I don't want to read them on Kindle Unlimited because I'm going to buy them anyways. I also do this weird thing with Kindle Unlimited where like I really only subscribe to it for like a month at a time. I'll subscribe and then I'll cancel my subscription until I'm bored of reading paperbacks and I want to go back to reading on my Kindle. I just do that because I want to save as much money as I can, and like if I'm paying the month subscription, I'm gonna get my money's worth out of reading. The next books that I would recommend are also a very popular series. It's the Eden series by Devney Perry. I've only read the first one, which is Indigo Ridge, I believe. It is a small town romance series. Indigo Ridge is about this girl who has a one-night stand with this guy. She is the new police chief and he is this really influential person in the town. They had a one-night stand. Well, all of a sudden a murder happens on his ranch and they can't just avoid each other. I really liked the book. Again, with the same thing with the Chestnut Spring series, the only reason I'm not reading the rest of the Eden series is because I think I'm just gonna buy them on paperback. They are really good. I really like the writing. Do have to say the first book, I was kind of more interested in the mystery than I was in the romance, but I think that was just because I'm kind of having a hard time reading romance right now. I'm not super interested in it. The next book recommendation that I have is a Mariana Zapata book. So I believe she should still be on Kindle Unlimited. I do believe she did get, like, she got bought out by a publishing house. I don't necessarily know what the term would be. She signed with a publishing house, so I don't know if it's still gonna be on Kindle Unlimited. I read this back in January. I read From Lukov with Love. It is a figure skating romance, and it is so good. It is probably my favorite romance book to ever exist. It is a slow burn. I really only like slow burns. If I'm reading a romance book and they are together, I'm not gonna lie, I'm skim reading the rest of the book because I do not care. From Lukov with Love is so fucking good and I recommend it. And then this is also another very popular author who I believe, again, has all of their books on Kindle Unlimited. It's Lucy Score. The two that I saw while I was scrolling through was Things We Never Got Over and By a Thread, which I believe are two of their most popular books. I read Forever Never. I did buy the physical copy, so I don't know if that's on Kindle Unlimited. And I enjoyed their writing. Also, another very popular, probably the most popular book talk series is the Twisted series. Back in January, I read Twisted Love by Anna Huang. I'm not gonna lie, I hated this book. I hated it so much. And I posted that and I was very scared to post that and say that. And I actually had quite a few people that agreed with me that they did not like the series. I do know that a lot of people love that series. So I'm not just gonna like shit on the series because obviously it's popular for a reason. So I definitely would check that out. If you really like romance books, you're probably going to like that series. And then also another very popular, I hate saying book talk and booktube every single time, online book community, I don't know, Lauren Asher. She wrote the Dreamland Billionaire series as well as the Dirty Air series. I read the first two books of the Dreamland Billionaire series. I honestly couldn't tell you what I rated them. I don't remember anything about them. I read them like last fall. I don't know. I just finished the first book of the Dirty Air series, which is about F1 racing. I read Throttled and I really liked the book. I don't know if it was because I just have a random obsession with F1 racing, but it was such a good book. I would really recommend those books. Dirty Air is about F1 racing. Dreamland Billionaires is basically about these brothers who they're basically a part of like the Walt Disney family kind of, and their grandpa, who is Walt Disney in this case, dies and leaves basically in his will that they can only get their inheritance if they like complete this task or this thing that he tells them to do. I don't know what this genre of book is. I think it's just literary fiction or just fiction. This was really popular, I think last fall, but before the coffee gets cold. I read the first one on Kindle Unlimited back in January. I am crossing my fingers that it is still on Kindle Unlimited. This book is so beautiful. It is about this coffee shop where if you sit in a certain seat, you can basically visit any time from the past that you choose, but the only rule is that you have to finish your coffee before it gets cold or you get stuck. It is just such a beautiful story. I loved it so much. Yeah, I feel like whenever I watch Kindle Unlimited recommendations, no one ever says that this book is on Kindle Unlimited, so I don't know if it still is. I'm crossing my fingers that it is because it is such a great book to read and I really would recommend it. I'm sorry if all of those recommendations were books that you've either read or that you've heard recommended to you 8,000 times. I did try to mix some books that I haven't heard a lot of people talk about, but I wanted to recommend books that I've either read or I've read part of the series because either I know that they're great or I know that other people love the books. I don't really obviously want to recommend books that I've not read because if they're shit, that's on me. I need you to see this. She just saw me whispering, so she kind of woke up. Anyways, that was all for this video. I hope you liked it. If you did, don't forget to give it a thumbs up and subscribe. If there are any other Kindle Unlimited books, if there are any other Kindle Unlimited books that I missed in this video that are really popular or books that you really like that you think I would like, leave them in the comments because I'm always looking for new Kindle Unlimited books to read. And yeah, I'll see you in my next video. Goodbye! Say bye-bye!